About 6 weeks ago, something strange and unsettling happened, and as I type this now, I'm still processing the surreal nature of it all. My wife, Kate, started a YouTube channel focused on improving marriages, but there was a twist. She used our arguments as content. In her videos, she portrayed me as the walking example of why the bar is in hell for men. She monetized my humiliation, turning our private struggles into a profitable side project. I couldn't believe it, but instead of confronting her immediately, I decided to handle it in a way that she wouldn't see coming. It all began when my coworker, Jim, caught me off guard one day in the break room. He looked uncomfortable as he asked, "Hey, is your wife into content creation? YouTube or something?" I was confused. Kate had mentioned starting a creative project a few months ago, but whenever I tried to press her for details, she'd change the subject. I'd figured she was working on something and wanted to keep it under wraps until she was ready to share. So I replied cautiously, "I think so, why?" Jim looked even more uncomfortable. "My girlfriend follows her relationship advice channel. She recognized your living room in the background of one of the videos." He showed me his phone and my stomach dropped. There on the screen was Kate sitting in our living room with a title that read, "My husband thinks saying sorry fixes everything." I felt my heart race. The incident she was referring to was a minor disagreement about household chores that we had resolved amicably. At least, that's what I thought. But in the video, I was being portrayed as a clueless, emotionally stunted husband. I thanked Jim and, after my shift, spent the entire lunch break in my car watching her videos. There were 26 of them, spanning the past 3 months, each one carefully edited to make me look inconsiderate, lazy, and emotionally immature. She called me the walking example of why the bar is in hell for men, and her 62,000 subscribers ate it up. The comments were filled with support for her and disdain for me, the faceless husband. What hurt most wasn't just the way she twisted our arguments, but how skillfully she did it. Disagreements where we were both at fault were turned into one-sided accounts that made me seem like the villain. And throughout it all, she made sure to maintain just enough anonymity, never using my name or showing my face, so she could deny everything if confronted. That night, I watched Kate set up for another video in our living room. She claimed it was a video chat with her sister, but I knew better. I pretended to work in my home office while she recorded yet another episode, this time about how I'd bought the wrong type of coffee and had been defensive when corrected. In reality, I had just asked which brand she preferred, hoping to get it right next time. But of course, her audience would never know that side of the story. The most disturbing part was the fact that she was monetizing this content. Between ad revenue and Patreon, where 230 supporters were paying $5 to $15 a month, she was making a decent income from misrepresenting our marriage. At first, I wanted to confront her, but being a lawyer, I knew better than to act on emotion. Instead, I started documenting everything. In our state, one-party consent laws meant I could legally record our conversations in common areas of our home. So I did. I wasn't trying to stoop to unethical tactics. I just needed evidence of what was really happening. I saved copies of her videos, backed up relevant text messages, and even kept a journal detailing the discrepancies between how she portrayed our relationship online and how things actually were. The more I paid attention, the more disturbing patterns I noticed. Kate had started deliberately creating situations to generate content. She'd leave messes in common areas and then film my reactions. She'd ask leading questions, hoping to provoke a controversial response that she could twist into something sensational. Our home had become her studio, and I was an unwitting actor in her ongoing production. 3 weeks into documenting everything, I had enough evidence to show that this wasn't just a case of exaggerating for entertainment. It was a deliberate and systematic campaign of misrepresentation for profit. That's when I decided to take action. I began being the perfect husband, but only with witnesses. I invited friends over more frequently, suggested double dates, and volunteered us for couples activities where others could observe our dynamic. Kate continued posting videos that contradicted what everyone around us was seeing. Her channel grew to 75,000 subscribers, and she started being recognized in local stores. The money was enough that she had reduced her hours at her graphic design job, focusing more on her growing YouTube career. Then came our 5th anniversary. I had planned something special, a surprise dinner with our closest friends and family, about 20 people in total. These were people Kate had specifically mentioned in her videos as witnesses to my supposed bad behavior. The evening started at a nice restaurant, where I gave a heartfelt toast about our years together. I specifically addressed some of the incidents she'd twisted in her videos, presenting my side of the story without revealing that I knew about her channel. When I mentioned a particular incident where I'd forgotten to pick up design samples, I told everyone how patient Kate had been, even though it meant she had to rush to make her client presentation. Her momentary confusion told me everything. She knew I was contradicting the narrative she had been feeding her online audience, but she couldn't say anything without exposing herself. After dinner, I suggested we go back to our place for gifts before heading to a special location for dessert. When we arrived, everyone was already there, waiting for us. Kate's sister, Jen, approached me with a glass of wine and said, "That was such a sweet toast at dinner." Then, as if casually adding to the conversation, she remarked, "I've never seen Kate look so uncomfortable before." It all came to a head one evening when my sister-in-law, Jen, casually remarked, "Completely different from how you described it on your channel, Kate. I've been meaning to ask about that." Kate froze, her face betraying a mix of shock and panic. Jen, oblivious to the storm brewing, continued, "You watch my videos? Are you serious?" Rachel had sent me a link months ago, Jen explained. She recognized Kate's voice, even though she'd never shown her husband's face. "I've watched most of them," Jen added nonchalantly. The truth hit Kate like a punch to the gut. Her family, including her father, had been watching the videos for months. "You didn't know?" Kate's father joined the conversation. "Lisa and I watch it too. I always thought it was strange how different the husband in those videos sounds compared to you. We figured it was just exaggerated for entertainment." I could see the color drain from Kate's face as the realization settled in. Her family had been silently watching her distort the truth and form their own conclusions. Then, the moment I had carefully orchestrated arrived. I asked for everyone's attention and pulled out my tablet, connecting it to the TV. "Since we're celebrating our relationship tonight," I began, "I thought I'd share something special that Kate's been working on." I paused for effect. For those who don't know, she has a YouTube channel about marriage. Kate's eyes widened in horror as I continued. "I discovered it about a month ago. At first, I was hurt by how she portrayed me, but then I noticed something interesting that I'd like to share with all of you." With a steady hand, I played a compilation I'd put together, using split-screen editing. On one side were clips from Kate's videos, showcasing her distorted version of events, while on the other side were actual, unedited recordings of our conversations, showing the truth. I'd carefully chosen examples where the discrepancies were undeniable, but not so personal that they would be too painful for everyone to see. The room fell silent as they watched Kate describe me as dismissive and uncaring about her work deadlines, juxtaposed with footage where I'd offered to help and rearranged my schedule to support her. Then came the clincher, footage from our living room, showing Kate deliberately staging situations, moving things I'd already put away, and filming herself discovering them. I played the footage of her rehearsing lines about my supposed failings, laughing on the phone with someone about how these videos were like printing money and how her audience would believe anything with the right editing. I stopped the video before it became too much. "I'm not showing this to humiliate you, Kate," I said, my voice calm but firm. "I'm showing it because I need everyone to understand what's been happening in our marriage. You've been systematically misrepresenting me to thousands of strangers for profit, and I can't continue in a relationship built on that foundation." The room was silent. Kate's friend, Maya, was the first to speak, her voice filled with disbelief. "Is this for real? I've been commenting supportive things on every video, thinking he was actually treating you badly." After the guests had left, Kate confronted me, her voice shaking with anger and hurt. "I can't believe you recorded me and humiliated me in front of everyone we know." I took a deep breath before responding. "Is that what you're upset about? That I recorded you? Not that you've been recording me without my knowledge for months? Not that you've built an entire brand around mocking and belittling me to strangers?" "It's just content," she insisted, trying to justify herself. "Everyone exaggerates online. It's not personal." "It's absolutely personal," I replied, my voice steady. "You've made 37 videos in the last 3 months calling me lazy, emotionally stunted, and inconsiderate. You've edited our private moments to create a fictional version of me that bears no resemblance to reality. How is that not personal?" Kate struggled to explain herself, but I could see the cracks in her defense. "The first video got more views than anything I've ever posted," she said, almost defensively. "Then the comments started coming in, the subscribers, the Patreon supporters. It just snowballed." So monetizing my humiliation became acceptable because it was profitable? I asked, my voice cold. She couldn't meet my eyes. You don't understand the pressure of content creation. Once you find something that works. She trailed off. I understand perfectly, I interrupted. But this wasn't a one-time mistake. This was hundreds of deliberate decisions to misrepresent our relationship, day after day for months. That was 3 weeks ago. Since then, Kate has taken down most of her videos, though some clips have already been reposted by others. After the initial shock, she posted a vague apology video, which only fueled more speculation and drama among her followers. Some of her fans have turned against her, while others still believe the original version of me she created. I've filed for separation and moved into a short-term rental. Surprisingly, Kate's family has been supportive of me, not just because of what she did to me, but because they too feel manipulated. They thought they were watching exaggerated stories with my knowledge and consent, not a carefully orchestrated campaign of deception. Kate has tried multiple approaches to reconcile, suggesting couples therapy, offering to post videos praising me, and apologizing in various ways. But she doesn't seem to grasp that the fundamental issue isn't about the content of the videos. It's the breach of trust they represent. A few people have criticized my methods, saying I should have confronted her privately first. Perhaps I could have, but after watching her carefully create situations specifically designed to make me look bad, I wanted her to experience what it felt like to have someone control the narrative about you without your input. The plot twist she couldn't edit out wasn't just being exposed at the party. It was facing the unfiltered reality of her actions in front of the people whose opinions mattered most to her, without the ability to cut, edit, or filter the truth. I'm not sure what happens next for either of us. Kate has lost most of her income from the channel, and her relationships with friends and family are fractured. As for me, I'm working through the complex emotions of betrayal while trying to rebuild my life. If there's a lesson in all of this, it's about the dangers of treating real relationships as content. Or perhaps it's simpler. Don't build a brand around mocking someone who has the ability and motivation to reveal the unedited truth.